Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my kitchen. I am so glad you are here with me. We are cooking and meal prepping. I want to show you how you can make meals out of your pantry and start using things up so we're not wasting, we're saving money, and we can just put things together very quickly, and how I go about it on a week-to-week basis. So most of the time, I really don't know what I'm going to cook for my weekly meal prep. I always like to check my fridge first and my freezer and kind of see what needs to get used and what we can do. So this week, in fact, yesterday, I actually had made some rice for something else. So I have rice left over, and I have made my cheese sauce, and that's in the fridge, and I had broccoli that needed to get used, so I was thinking about a cheesy rice broccoli casserole. And then let me switch hands here, and then I found this. This is Eve's Mexican veggie ground. Now Eve's is unfortunately going out of business, or they're changing their focus on what they're making. So when I was home in Canada, I bought a stockpile of their stuff. I brought some of it home with me. I left some of it up there in the freezer because it lasts really well. So I was thinking this would be perfect in with the rice, broccoli, and cheese sauce. Absolutely. I also finished refilling my snack tray like I do every week, and with the scraps from my onions and carrots and everything, I made my own stock again in the Instant Pot. I will hook all these recipes up. Then I decided, obviously now that it's snowing and cold here, a soup is always necessary. I have some zucchinis that need to get used. They'll be perfect in a soup. I also am I was looking for a grain of some sort. I'm going to do a little bit of quinoa in the soup. I'm also going to do a little bit of orzo in this soup. And I think I'm going to do sweet potato. We're going to start with that. Obviously, probably a salad this week. The other thing I made, which is basically a pantry staple, is a macaroni salad. I always have packages of my silken tofu, which I make the mayonnaise out of, or mayonnaise, whatever you want to call it. And I always have pasta and green peas and, onions and celery. So I just whip that up together. And I do sometimes add a little bit of pickle brine. I just like it. It brightens it up. So that's actually another dish that we have. So let's get cooking and put some things together. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to get some of our stuff in the oven. I totally forgot my husband wants butternut squash soup also. So I'm going to roast my butternut squash, but I'm going to do it the easier way. I don't know if you guys know anything about butternut squash, but it can be really hard, and I don't feel like peeling it and stuff, so I am literally going to cut off the bottom and the top. You want to do that so that you have a firm base. I'm going to put that in our compost, and then I am literally just going to go down the middle. I'm going to take the seeds out, put it upside down, and just roast it in an oven at 400 degrees. And I'm also going to roast 2 of my sweet potatoes. I have a Japanese sweet potato, and then I have a regular yam, sweet potato, whatever you want to call them. So when I start cooking, I grab a bowl, because that's going to be my compost bowl. Just much easier than going back and forth all the time. You could season your butternut squash if you want. I just want it to roast. We're turning them upside down so they'll steam on the inside. Pretty easy. You can salt and pepper them if you want. And then the yams are going to go in beside. Throw that in the oven for probably an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. The next thing I want to do is my rice casserole dish. So this Eve's is awesome, unfortunately. It's hard to get. Even when I came home, I stocked up on all the stuff I could find in a few of the stores that I went to. So this is the Mexican blend, which is perfect. We don't even have to cook it. It's already cooked. It's going to cook in the pan. So we're going to take our pan, I am going to lightly steam the broccoli. So I just have this broccoli left over that does need to get used. I'm going to just cut them into little florets. And in this casserole, you can use the stems. That's what I'm doing. I'm just cutting them. I'm cutting off any brown pieces. I'm going to put this in my microwave steamer. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend. I'll have a link down below for my Amazon stuff, but honestly, it's just so much easier to clean up and less hassle. I'm going to put a little water in there, and we're going to steam them for about 3 minutes. That's all we're going to need. We just want to soften them a little bit so they don't have to cook for a long time in the oven. So in our bowl, add in your leftover rice. I am using some Eve's ground beef, but you could use whatever you want, or you could leave it out. You could just make this as a simple casserole. So we're going to add this in. I'm just going to mix it. Add in some broccoli or cauliflower or whatever you have, or a bunch of leftover vegetables works really well. Then we're going to use my cheese sauce, which is made out of potatoes and carrots. It has no fat, it's whole food plant-based, and it's delicious. Just gives us a quick stir, and now we're going to add in our cheese sauce. Add to your baking dish or casserole dish. Make sure you get everything coated. We're going to top this with some foil, and we're going to bake this for about 20 minutes until everything is hot and bubbly. So we're going to get our ingredients ready for our soup because it is going to come together very, very quickly. I'm just taking my zucchini that I have. I think I'm going to make this like a chunkier soup. So I'm just going to do half moons. And of course, you could do them smaller. We are going to keep this very low calorie density, because we'll be able to have as much soup as we want without having to worry about the calories. So we're going to start with our zucchini. We're going to do some celery, and again, I'm going to keep it kind of chunky. I find it more filling. I mean, yes, I'm going to do like a butternut squash soup, and that's going to be more silky, but I like it when I can see what I'm eating, taste what I'm eating, and I just find it seems to fill me up more. Extra carrots here, because now I couldn't find any more carrots, so let me cut up some carrots. And I love these kinds of soups because once you have your broth, which again costs us nothing, we're just using what we have left in our cupboards, fridges. You could use a bag of frozen vegetables, totally up to you. Whatever you have, just throw it in. There's no wrong answer. And again, I want you to feel comfortable in the kitchen. I want you to enjoy it. I did defrost some brown lentils. That's going to go in there. And I haven't quite decided if I'm doing quinoa and orzo. I think I might just do a little bit of orzo. I think that'll be just perfect. And then we need our onion. So you just need to have like some of your fragrant vegetables and stuff. Don't forget to keep your skins, because that's how I made my broth. Doesn't cost me anything. I don't have to worry about salt or any additives or any things I don't want in it. And it's basically free. And for that stock that I'm going to be using, I will be using it for this soup, and I will be using it for my butternut squash soup. I'm also going to do a sweet potato in here. So let me do the onion first. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my no-knead dough going. Because there's nothing better than a fresh piece of bread with a big bowl of soup. You can just dip it in there. Don't have any fat, no oil, no grease. It's just perfect. Continues to fill you up. So I've added a little bit of stock into my pan, And I'm going to put in my onions, let those start sauteing. And the broth will reduce, your onions you can brown them. Okay, now we're gonna add in the carrots, celery, and zucchini and let those saute a little bit. And then as your water or your broth dissipates, now if you don't have a lot of broth, you can just use water. As it dissipates, just keep adding a little bit at a time so things don't burn at the bottom. Once things have started cooking down and softening, we're gonna add in our broth. And again, as much or as little broth, you can make a small batch of soup. You don't have to always make a big batch of soup. I'm gonna add in my lentils. They're still a little bit frozen, but that's okay. They are going to defrost in no time. And I will wait for the orzo to the last couple of minutes. We're gonna let this come to a boil. I'm gonna start adding some seasoning. I'm going to use just some granulated garlic, some thyme. Now we're gonna bring that up to a boil and let that simmer till, oh, I almost forgot. Put my sweet potatoes in, silly. All right, now bring that up to a boil. Let everything cook until the potatoes are nice and tender. And you have a fabulous soup. Hearty, delicious, yummy yum. The other thing I found in my freezer was I had a bunch of kale. So I'm just gonna kind of chop this up and throw it into the soup and give it some time to cook. In the kale goes. So as you can see, the Mexican rice dish that I made, it's delicious. Now, when I heat it up, I will add a little extra broth just because it should have had a little bit more broth, but it was still good tonight. But I know when I heat it up, it'll dry out a little bit. The butternut squash is all soft and squishy, so it's all ready to go. And the sweet potato is good to go. Already dug into some of the roasted garlic. And then last but not least, our big pot of healthy soup. Well, my friends, that's another end of another great easy meal prep. We have a few things that we're all set. We have our carbs, we have our non-starchy veg, and we have a big pot of delicious immunity boosting soup for this time of year. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Leave me some comments down below. Don't forget to hit subscribe and give this a big thumbs up if you don't mind. And we'll see you in the next one.